Welcome to the Healthy Highways WIN, weekly information on nutrition. My name is Emily Mabey, and this week's topic is reading and interpreting food labels. We will be going over the basics of label reading. The goal behind label reading is to know exactly what's in your food, what you're eating. We want to be an informed consumer. We want to make food choices that are in line with our personal health goals. And maybe you're allergic or intolerant to certain foods. We definitely want to avoid them. That's where label reading will come in handy. Let's get started. All right, the very first thing everyone should look at when reading a food label is the serving size. Hopefully your number one takeaway from this presentation is that the serving size gives value to all of the other nutrients on the food label. For example, for this example, the serving size is a half a cup. The total amount of fat, cholesterol, protein, etc. listed on a food label is based off of that one serving size. So if you consume more than one serving, you must multiply the other nutrient numbers by the number of servings that you consume. Keep in mind, if something looks like it might be a single serving, always check the label to be sure. There might be more than one. Moving down the label, we see calories and fat. Calories are energy required for your body. You may have heard the saying, calories in, calories out. Nutrition is definitely not that simple. The other items in the food are equally as important as calories, right? It is good to be mindful and aware, though, of how many calories you are consuming from a product. Moving on to the total fat listed, it includes 3 different types of fat: saturated, unsaturated, and trans fats. The unsaturated fat is not listed on the food label, but it is the remaining amount after you deduct saturated and trans fat from the total. Saturated fat is usually the oil you see that solidifies at room temperature, such as bacon, grease, or even butter. This mainly comes from animal products, and it is recommended that we limit our consumption of saturated fat as it can have a negative impact on your cholesterol levels. Trans fat is mainly from man-made oils called partially hydrogenated oils. Those are used by manufacturers to improve the taste or texture of a product. According to the American Heart Association, trans fat raises your bad cholesterol and lowers your good cholesterol, and it can increase your risk of heart disease. Definitely want to limit your intake on trans fats. Lastly, we have unsaturated fat. That includes olive oil, avocado oil, just to name a couple. Most oils that are liquid at room temperature are unsaturated fat. You may hear people refer to unsaturated fat as healthy fat. That is because it is essential for healthy skin, hair, nails, organ functions, and feelings of fullness and overall health. All right. Now we have cholesterol and sodium on the food label. Cholesterol is any animal or animal product. For example, rice is a cholesterol-free food, right? Because it does not have or contain any animal products. It is, of course, important to be mindful of the amount of cholesterol you're consuming, especially when the product is also high in saturated fat and you consume it regularly. That's when the food will likely negatively impact your cholesterol levels. Sodium comes from salt, of course, preservatives, baking soda, baking powder, and you are likely to get a lot of your sodium from baked goods. Even though they may not be salty, there's still a lot of sodium in them. Soups and bone broths, those that you buy off of the shelf, those are also known to be high in sodium, so watch out for that. The American Heart Association recommends that a healthy adult consume no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium daily and 1,000 milligrams or less for those with health conditions like high blood pressure. So Okay, we say 2,300 milligrams of sodium. How much really is that? It seems like a lot, right? 2,300? Well, it's just 1 teaspoon. So it does add up quickly. Be mindful of that. Definitely want to read our food labels. Alrighty, carbohydrates are made up of dietary fiber, sugar, and starch, which is not listed. You take the difference of the other two from the total to get the total amount of starch that is in the product. Dietary fiber can help you feel fuller longer, lower your bad cholesterol, and it can also help move your bowels. Sugars listed include naturally occurring and added sugar. Some labels will specify how much sugar is added. The American Heart Association says that men should consume no more than 37.5 grams of added sugars a day, and women no more than 25 grams a day. So it is important that we are reading our labels. We're mindful as to how much we are getting in our food and our drinks throughout the day. Okay, now that we have reviewed the main components of a food label, let's compare a few different types of a product. Let's use peanut butter as an example. The serving size is 2 tablespoons for all three peanut butters, so that makes comparing a bit easier. The regular Jif has 190 calories. The reduced fat also has 190 calories. And then also the Trader Joe's has 200 calories. If we transition and compare regular Jif and the low-fat version, we see that the regular Jif has 16 grams of total fat and the reduced fat version has 12 grams. So it is definitely reduced, right? But if we look at the saturated fat content, it is the same for both products at 2.5 grams. So the reduced fat Jif product has less unsaturated fat for the healthy fats, but the same amount of saturated fat. So keep that in mind when making your food choices. Take a look at the sodium content for the reduced fat product. It is 250 milligrams versus the original, which is 135 milligrams. Also, the reduced fat product has 4 grams of sugar, where the regular version has 1 gram less. The reduced fat also has 3 types of sugar listed in its ingredients list: corn syrup, sugar, and molasses. The regular Jif has 1 type, which is listed as sugar. It also has fully hydrogenated oils, they both do, which is used to keep the peanut butter from separating from the oil. So it is reduced fat, but it has more sodium and sugar than the original. Lastly, if you look at the Trader Joe's peanut butter, the only ingredient is peanuts. If you get the salted one, it will have salt listed and a higher sodium content. It has less ingredients and less processing involved, but it does have a layer of oil at the top. You mix it once and refrigerate it and it won't separate it again. That's for most natural peanut butters that you see on the shelf. Look for the peanut butter that has the least amount of ingredients and no added sugar, no matter what the brand is. Another takeaway as a result of these comparisons is that the front label is used for marketing and doesn't tell us the big picture of the product. Be skeptical of the front label. The nutrition facts are what you want to look at to determine if the product is right for you and in line with your personal health goals. Okay, this concludes our Healthy Highways WIN, weekly information on nutrition. I hope you enjoyed learning more about the food label with me.